Video, it's almost April here, 2020, and this is going to be the watertight shelter right here, 38 foot by 10 foot diameter. But I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the plant, show you what we have, what we do here. This side of the plant is going to be mass production. We're going to produce about 10 of these per day for the dealers, about 200 dealers worldwide. So we make, this is where we'll do all the modular shelters. Oh, it's like a concrete fire shelter for Australia over there. So this side's doing all the structural welding. This thing here is called a Garnado. One thing all our shelters have is those gas tight doors. This is a big giant modular shelter. It's gonna be built out like a house. It's gonna feel like a 5-star hotel room there. Then this side of the factory, we make all the culvert shelters. So this one's here is a beautiful bunker called the Big Boy. But we've got another 8 or 9 shelters being built on that side. We're in full production right now. Guys, welcome back to another episode of Atlas Survival Shelters. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I hope you're all staying home safe right now. Now, this is probably my very last day of ever making videos in the LA office. All my survival gear that you normally see around me is gone now. It got shipped back to Texas a week ago, coming this Tuesday. So I got it out 2 days before they put the quarantine on LA because I get inside information, and I was told it was coming, so I called in an 18-wheeler. I loaded everything up, got all my food, my survival supplies, everything, my motorcycles, bikes, anything and everything, and I literally filled an 18-wheeler, shipped it to Texas, and then loaded it 2 days later. So yes, I am officially out of California, but the one thing that's still here is my editor behind that camera right now, and I don't have one in Texas. So this may be the last time I ever come and make videos here in LA. So I do already have my desk set up in Texas. Hey guys, I've been watching your comments, and I'm gonna get moved to Texas and start doing my YouTube reviews right here in Texas. And I even got me some bumper stickers to get on the front side of my desk. And the first one I'm gonna put up is California too late, Texas still great. So I've got my stuff will be there, and it'll be set up this week. Now I just got to find a camera guy and an editor, and we'll start making videos right there in Texas. But, you know, right now I'm making this bunker called the Big Boy, okay? And I've actually sold 2-3 more of them in the last week or so. Because it's just so big. It's 12 feet wide, 48 feet long. It's got 8-foot ceilings. It's got 4 foot of storage under the floor, 4 foot wide pathways. It's just freaking huge inside. Even the bathroom is 100. The bathroom is what, 120 square feet? That's bigger than some bedrooms in houses. Okay, so it's a very spacious bunker. But I've decided if this pandemic goes airborne, meaning like pollen in the wind, okay, and I need to be in an airtight chamber, I've decided I'm going to my own Big Boy in my factory. So people ask me, do you need a bunker to protect you from the coronavirus? And the answer is absolutely not. Guys, you don't need to buy a bomb shelter to protect you from the coronavirus, because it's like an aerosol. So if you sneeze it on somebody, it might go 4, 5, 6 feet. That's it. When I say in the wind, okay, I mean like pollen or smoke. It will travel for miles, okay? It hasn't done that, nor I hope it doesn't. But if it did do that, the NBC air filtration system in my shelter turned on would filter the air out, and it would kill the biological matter by going through the pre-filter, the HEPA filter, and then being in the carbon. So I would be protected in my shelter. And if you have a shelter and it ever does become airborne as like pollen in the wind, okay, or smoke traveling through the wind that could travel for miles, then you would go to your shelter. But in the meantime, you do not need a bomb shelter. But people are buying shelters right now in record numbers because of this coronavirus. Are they buying them for the coronavirus? No, they're buying them for the future. And the future meaning 6 months, 12 months, a year, whatever, 5 years, 6 years. And it could be for a whole list of reasons. It could be a civil war. It could be nuclear fallout. But more than likely, most people are afraid of the big pandemic when it comes like the Spanish flu did in 1918 and 1919. And what some of you people may not know, that when the Spanish flu hit in 1918, it went away, it came back, they got rid of it a second time, and it came back a third time. So we are just in our first stage of coronavirus right now. So we don't know how many times it will come and go, or if it will just stay, or if it will just disappear. We just don't know. But I'm going to show you today in this video where I'm going to spend, if I have to, I'm going to go into the big boy. So I know you guys are going to like this bunker. So if you're curious, the big boy and the culvert design cost $130,000. If we do it in a watertight version, which means it's all steel welded at a 1/2 inch thick plate, it's $180,000. So one thing I want to cover also today, and this is for my avid followers of Atlas Survival Shelters. Yesterday on my channel, I received almost 1.5 million views. The day before, I got 260,000. So I don't even know what I'll get today. It's a lot of views I'm getting right now. A lot of people are searching out to see what they can do. Therefore, I'm getting a lot of emails as well. And if anybody knows anything about me, I'm very fair, and I want to help and save everybody that I can, or help everybody that I can. If you want to just do it yourself, I'll be glad to assist you and tell you where you can buy the supplies and get everything and do it yourself, okay? There's too many people on the world. One person, especially me, cannot build enough shelters for everybody in the world. And the emails are coming from all over the world. But if you do decide that you want me to do your shelter, okay, it would be an honor for me to do so because I take a lot of pride in my work. But what I have to do is I have to have a system where I can take you an order, okay? Therefore, if you think you want a shelter in the next 12 months, what I want you to do is go to this right here, Ron at Atlas Survival Shelters, okay? And tell me you want to reserve a spot for the next 12 months. It's the only fair way I can be about it. All I'm required is a $1,000 deposit. You lock in your spot. When your number comes up, then you will be asked to put up a larger deposit so we can start the construction of your shelter. But until then, you're only out $1,000. If you decide you don't want a shelter, you can transfer your deposit to another person, and you do not even have to pick the shelter you want at this time. But this gives me a forward-looking observation of how many NBC air filtration systems I need to get from Switzerland. And if you guys know anything about the NBC air filtration system, the hospitals are kind of hoarding them up right now, so they have certain areas of the hospital that has filtered air, okay? So they're kind of buying them up, I guess, right now. So I actually got a container load in, thank God, I got a container load in like 8 weeks ago, 22 brand new VA 150s. So I'm very blessed that I got that. And I talked to my supplier, okay? I told him my situation and how many orders I have in. So I'm able to get another container, but I'm going to get a bunch of VA 40s. Now, VA 40 is a smaller system that would work in something like the size of this office, okay? I am thinking some people might want to try to make a room airtight in their house. You don't have to have the bunker, guys. You don't need to have to just buy the bunker to be protected. You just got to have an airtight environment, okay? So I'm going to bring in some VA 40s, which are Swiss-made NBC air filtration systems, and I'm going to start using those in my safe cellars and my smaller shelters, but they also can work in your house as well. One thing you got to know about the Swiss, if you ever go to Switzerland, every single house has a room about this, half the size of this office that I'm in right now, and they have their own MB serial filtration system. Okay, it's the law there. Okay, it's also the law in Israel. It's also the law in Finland. It's also the law in Singapore. So there's quite a few countries that have made it mandatory that every time you build a house or a high rise that you take a certain amount of square feet, it's like 3 meters by 3 meters, and you make that a safe room with an NB serial filtration system that will protect you against nuclear, biological, and chemical agents. Okay? Now, in the United States of America, there is no codes. There's no permits in most places, and you can just pretty much do what you want. There's no guidelines. Now, that may change in the future, but back in the 1960s, we had the Department of Civil Defense, and they would build nuclear fallout shelters under buildings, and you'd see kids ducking under their desk and people running into buildings or whatever, and they'd be practicing for inbound strikes from the Soviet Union. Well, we don't live in those times anymore, but we don't know what the future entails. We don't know what North Korea is going to do. We don't know who's going to be elected our next president. We don't know anything about anybody in the world, and we don't know who's going to get their hands on some biological weapons. It doesn't take but a few people to get the right weapons to pretty much wipe out the entire country or the whole world if it's a particular unknown biological matter that there's no cure for, like a rabies or God only knows, okay? I've seen some YouTube videos and some of them are quite scary. But I am coming out with a video in the next few days called Life After Armageddon. It's an hour-and-a-half long movie that was produced by the History Channel. I'm going to release it on my channel. It will not be monetized because it's basically copyrighted, so I can't monetize it. But I want you guys to watch this video. I've watched it several times, okay? It's actually what got me into the prepper industry, or to become a prepper, and that led to me being in the prepper industry. But I saw this Life After Armageddon movie like 11 years ago, 12 years ago. It scared the crap out of me, okay? Or whenever it came out. And I was like, that's the scary stuff. So I started looking around for a bunker, and there was only a few people that did it at the time. It was Utah Shelters that made round culvert shelters in Salt Lake City, and they're not in business anymore. But they did for about 25 years. There was Deep Earth Bunkers, which isn't in business anymore. He had a TV show called Doomsday Bunkers, which aired right after Doomsday Preppers. And then there was Radius Engineering, which is Walter McCarthy, the man who wrote the book Principles of Protection, and a very smart man. I actually hired him for 2 months to basically educate myself to be around a man as smart as him. If you want to learn things, you get around smart people. Anything I know has been taught to me from people that have been in this industry for 30 years. You just don't jump into the industry, start making bunkers without studying. It is not as simple as taking a square box and putting 2 air pipes in the ground. That is not how it works. That is just called a tornado shelter, okay? To make a properly engineered nuclear fallout shelter, you have to have 90-degree turns. You have to have attenuation for your air pipes. You've got to do a lot of things. You got to compensate for the summer. The hot air coming in the summer. You bring in hot air into a bunker in the summer, it'll suffocate you and kill you. The flip side of that, if you bring in air from the outside in the winter, you'll freeze yourself to death. And you're like, okay, yeah, I never thought about that. Guys, the shelter itself will stay between 56 and 58 degrees year round until you turn on the air system. Then whatever the outside temperature is, you start bringing that air. This is why the Atlas Survival Shelters has a long series of pipes to allow for the condensation, for the temperature change. So one thing like the coil in an air conditioner, water goes through it, and it goes to a set of coils, and the coils are cooled, and it cools the water down. The same thing in my shelters. So you can see how the air's going to come in over there. And that galvanized pipe right there, it comes in there, it goes uphill. So that pipe's on a slope right there. It comes uphill, and then it goes down into the bunker, and it turns in. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, you've got 5 90-degree turns to attenuate your gamma radiation. And that's very important. You can't just run a PVC pipe out the roof of a square bunker and expect to attenuate anything. It's a joke. It's wrong. It's just not right. the air goes through a series of pipes, so the pipes stay at 56 to 58 degrees. So you bring in hot air, it will cool down. As it cools down, it creates condensation. So the air pipes have to be at an angle so the condensation rolls back, but the air continues to flow because it's being sucked in by the NBC air filtration system. So there's a lot of technology that actually goes into the Atlas Survival Shelter, and yes, it is patented. In the last 12 months, I've received over 1,200 applications for dealers worldwide. That's a lot of people. I'm averaging probably 10 to 20 a day right now, and most of them are coming from Europe. And the answer is yes, I ship all over the world, okay? It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you are watching this video and you can hear my voice, I can ship a shelter to you. Now, the least expensive way to do it is if I put it on what's called a flat rack. A flat rack is 36 feet long from wall to wall. I can put the shelter on the flat rack and it goes on top of a ship, and the ship will come to you. So it's the last thing on the ship, it rides up top, and it's the first thing off. And then the parts can come into a regular 20 or 40 foot shipping container. This is how I send shelters abroad. If the shelter is larger than that, you have to do what's called a roll-on or a roll-off ship. That means it's so long that it literally has to be driven onto a ship, a cargo ship, a special type of ship, and then it's got to be driven off. And it's very expensive, but this is how they move like yachts. If they don't want to sell a yacht, they put yachts on these big giant ships and they transfer yachts across oceans. So it could cost as much $50,000, $100,000 to transport a shelter overseas. Some people don't care about the money, some people do, but I usually treat everybody as if they're working on a budget, and I respect their money and I don't try to oversell them. Okay, so guys, if you want to lock up a spot for the next 12 months or 2020, and I'm going to tell you another thing, guys, doing. My catalog is a 2018 catalog. Okay, we had a price increase because steel prices went through the roof when Trump put on the tariff on China. I can tell you now that the steel prices have come way back down. They're back to normal, and Atlas Survival Shelters is honoring the 2018 prices, and there will be no price increases forecasted for the next year. So when you lock in your shelter, you're locking in your current price as well. Okay, I can't guarantee what's going to happen in the future. Steel may go back up again. I mean, it went from 30 cents a pound to like 70, 80 cents a pound, even $1 in some places. They're ripping people off. But guys, if you know anything about me, I'm a straight shooter. I'm as honest as I can be. I care about my product. I am not perfect. Sometimes there's mistakes made, and when mistakes are made, I fix them, I own them, and I stand up for them. I will not hide behind a lifetime warranty and then not stand behind it, okay? So guys, I hope you enjoy this segment today in my video of me showing you where I'm going to ride out the coronavirus if it hits me while I'm at my factory in Texas. So enjoy the video. I got to figure it out. If shit gets real bad, you know what I'm doing? I'm locking down this door and I'm going to spend this coronavirus stuff here in this big boy bunker in my factory. So I'm going to move in my TV and hook up some Wi-Fi and put some mattresses here in case any of my workers want to come in. But I'm gonna sit it out here on this big old couch that reclines. This is what I'm gonna do. Look at this. So this is where I'm gonna spend the coronavirus doomsday if it gets down to it, and I need to be in an airtight chamber because this bunker's done, and I'll just stay in here, and I'm going to bring in a nice Sealer Posturpedic queen size bed in there, put it right here, and just make this my house, and I'm just going to live here because everything may shut down and I'll be stuck. So guys, I hope you enjoy that. Yeah, that's the big boy. I know it's pretty badass, and that's why everyone that's been coming to the factory lately wants one. So the good news is I'm building some watertight ones. I'm building some more corrugated pipe ones. Guys, let me explain something to you very clearly. You cannot put a culvert pipe in an area that has the potential of a high water table or soil saturation that could lead to a high water table. Unfortunately, that means if you live in a place where I can't do a culvert, you have to do a watertight shelter. Now, I build two types of watertight shelters. Okay, actually three. I do the round watertight, which is all welded steel. And then I do a square one. And I'm also putting the skin, which is the metal, on the outside, so the I-beams are on the inside, and the I-beams that support the walls are all shelves. So because the square ones typically don't have underfloor storage, all the storage is in the walls. So we make them 6 inches deep with a 6-inch I-beam, and you can get those number 10 cans from Mountain House or from Emergency Essentials, and you can set those up there so the inside of your bunker looks like a pantry, okay? Just food everywhere. So it makes you feel really good. So guys, I hope you enjoyed my video today. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope we get through this coronavirus and our country gets healthy again. Let's pray for our politicians to make good decisions, and let's all pray for our citizens that we get well as pray for the entire world to heal and beat this coronavirus. So guys, thanks for watching my channel. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, make sure you like and subscribe. Please share this video if you enjoyed it. Hit that little bell that goes ding, ding, ding. Lets you know when my next video comes in. But guys, as always, I love you. I will see you on my next video.